Got a very good game here between two great players on Syrtis, between Tag Ubergeek, who's gonna be Cybran. Starting from the left, you can see he's going first air. This is 3599, however, so first air is a little more dangerous. Against Scruffy, he's going first ground. He's got 3 P-gens, and it looks like he's moving with his ACU. He's gonna get a few more P-gens, perhaps go no. First 2 are ground for Scruffy. It's gonna be interesting against first air for Ubergeek. He actually has no mass extractors, but the first he did not start with a factory. He started with P-gens. So it's a little strange, but looks very creative. Speed this up at first, and we'll see what happens. So Syrtis, a map with many levels here. You see the most bottom one, you had the middle, and 2 big mountains in the middle, and a choke point that's at first closed. You see some T1, T2 flag, T1 PDs, plus a lot of mass if you were to kill that gateway. So about 4,000 mass in that. See the planet for Scruffy. He's going third air. It looks like the engines are going to pick up the air. A lot of T1 P-gens, and now you can see the Jester. So now we're coming up on minute 2. So it looks like a very fast Jester from Ubergeek. You can see he passed, he went around the middle, and let's see how Scruffy deals with this. This Jester has been renamed Pew Pew, and it's already got 1 kill, 2 kills. You can see flak, so only 1 factory, 2 factories halfway done. It's going to be very dangerous if these 2 NGs die. A very bad situation for Scruffy. Because Scruffy is currently, I believe, #1 on the GPG net ladder. And now you can see this Gesture, it's 5 kills, so a little too much flak. Perhaps this Gesture should go in, grab a couple of those NGs that are expanding. So gets out just in time, 6 kills, 89 health. You can see it was a good defense from Scruffy, although he did lose 6 units. Ubergeek, while that's happening, you can see he's got a factory on the ledge. That's his second factory. He's got plenty of power. Depends on what you want to do, of course, but it looks like this air factory is just making NGs now. No more air, and this Jester is still alive, so now it's 7 kills. He's going to be looking for more NGs. It's a very good move. He saw that, well, he probably didn't see, but he assumed that that flag would go away, but looks like he only got 2 more kills. So 8 kills for that very early Jester. So now Ubergeek is in a little bit of a hole, but at least in terms of the score, but whatever that means. You can see a very fast Artie from Scruffy. Looks like he's going to the middle very fast. He's got the scout to pick out this PD, and now he's going to shoot it, and his ACU is probably going to be there very soon as well. You can see Ubergeek's ACU is just going to be making factories. Looks like a total of 4 factories here instead of going to the middle. And expanding NG, very important NG here from Ubergeek. If he can get taken out, it takes a lot of time to walk to this bottom base from Ubergeek starting position. You can see some Mantis, it looks like, going in. You gotta try to cut off this choke point. There'll probably be a nice war here. And this is mostly flak, so these can't shoot back at these Mantis. Of course, there is 1 Artie here and some tanks coming in as well. But early on, it's just a Mantis. If it can target this Artie, get a lot of free kills. But now it looks like no micro from Ubergeek, who has taken first place with the score. And now you can see this Artie very effective taking out PDs, and Scruffy is going to begin to get mass. And Ubergeek really got to do something about the fact that Scruffy is going to get a lot of free mass. Absolutely no fighting through the bottom channel here, and it appears both players getting an air force. We have 4 airplanes for Scruffy. This is just interceptors, and he's making more. Looks like Ubergeek did pause his production for a while, but now he's back. Only 2 interceptors. And you can see a lot more mass extractors for Ubergeek and his expanding base here. Only 1 getting the second for Scruffy. And Scruffy did just get this really massive chunk of mass. And you can see Ubergeek is just getting here, coming up on minute 8, and he's going to realize he missed out on quite a bit. He will pick up just a little bit. A single Mantis going through the bottom choke point, some tanks from Scruffy. And it looks very even at this point in terms of map control. You see the scouting from Scruffy. There is a transport for Ubergeek. See where he drops that. Looks like it's going to be mostly NGs, but Scruffy definitely saw that transport. It's going to be a drop to Scruffy's expanding base. It's a very good place to drop, and it doesn't look like there's much defense there. And in the middle we see Ubergeek pushing Scruffy back. This fight looks very even in terms of number of units. Scruffy already at 11 kills, Ubergeek only at 3. But prevented Scruffy from building a base. Now we see this drop. It's going to be first PD, very good PD. Is going to take out 4 mass extractors, then a factory. And of course this NG is trying to get a PD, is not going to be successful. Now Mantis moving through. We see T2 from Scruffy now. We see some mongoose on the map. Probably going to take back this choke point. We see some nice raiding tanks on the top here from Scruffy, killing off a few mass extractors. And on the bottom we see a pretty nice sized force from Scruffy. Is going to be a little bit of trouble for Ubergeek unless he can get units here fast. There's also some mongoose in here, so a very powerful force. See a nice technique here from Ubergeek getting factories on that ledge so you don't have to walk around. And it looks like Ubergeek is cleaning up on top, and this drop was extremely successful. It's got 2 factories, got mass extractors, and you can see in terms of map control, Ubergeek has had a very good victory. Now we can see Mantis pushing back against this T2, T1 force, but you can see Mongoose getting quite a few kills, already 8. He's going to get a lot more. He's got very long range and very good against T1 units. And now Ubergeek has been pushed away from the middle spot. We see the shield place ECU. Scruffy is very good at doing this. This gives you extra 4,000 health for whatever you want to put this over. And if Scruffy can establish himself up on this ledge, maybe get a T2 NG here, get some T2 PD, but this works very well too. See these mongoose under the shield has very long range, can hit all these factories. And Ubergeek needs plants. He's got T2 air now, and you can see T2 air targeting the shield. They've taken out the shield, so this is very good defense from Ubergeek using T2 air. And it appears that his drop is being taken back. So it looks like the top base is going to belong to Scruffy eventually. He's got some T2. So T2 ground for Scruffy, T2 air for Ubergeek. This T2 air was very good. These Corsairs, you can see that playing 7 kills, 12 kills. Now we see actually T2 air from Scruffy as well. This is a very nice squadron of T2 gunships. Once again we see Mantis versus Strikers here. This is all T1 and some mongoose coming in to help out. It's a very even numbers. And now we see a fight. This is going to be, it looks like those gunships were found out, and it looks like they are going to die. It's a very nice move from Ubergeek. And on the top channel, a very nice counter from Scruffy. He has killed off the drop, and now he's pushing forward with the T1 and T2. So map control, it looks like, is going to begin to belong to Scruffy. You can see it's a T3 air factory now, so minute 15, Ubergeek is at T3 air. Let's slow this down a little bit. And it looks like a lot of trouble for Scruffy at his main base. He lost a hydro and a lot of power. However, there is T2 flag, so these T2 bombing is not going to last too long. Also appears a few mass extractors are lost as well. But now there might be a little bit of trouble at Ubergeek's base. You see it's probably nearly 10. It's close to 10 mongoose here, supported by T1 that's moving into the base. We see T2 PDs being constructed by Ubergeek, as well as some Strat bombers. Strat bombers might not be the best units for defense. But here, NGs is probably the best target, or these T2 PDs, T2 power generators. We did see a Strat Bomber somewhere, and now you can see the Strat Bombers with 6 kills. It looks like it's going to do damage against his own base. That's a nearly dead T2 mask extractor. So both players causing significant damage to each other's bases, and actually UberGeek's ACU fighting a T1, T2 force here. T1 PD is definitely going to give UberGeek a place to retreat to. But in terms of map control, it's all scruffy now. There is one factory making a few units here for UberGeek, but he has lost his expansion base. You see T2 gunships are going to move in to help out UberGeek's ACU. It is now at 27 kills. You can see what Scruffy's doing. He's got a lot of flak at his base. Still trouble. And see the Strat Bomber, already 12 kills. This is the one that was playing defense. Looks like it just got shot out of the air by T1 Air. Almost hit Scruffy's ACU. Scruffy had 19 kills. I see a Mantis here, a very good Mantis. Is going to kill off an NG. Now this T2 Air is actually pushing Scruffy back. We should see a little bit of flak coming in. Although Interceptor is going to kill off these 3 T2 gunships. This is pretty inexcusable given that UberGeek has a massive air force. He should be able to defend his gunships. And you can see now more Strat Bombers from UberGeek. He does have a lot of master claim at his base now, and his power production is looks like much better than Scruffy's. So you can see the first T2 power generator for Scruffy is just coming on. So UberGeek showing air over ground in this one, and a lot of wrecks here that UberGeek can claim to himself. And it looks like more raiding coming in from Scruffy. He is taking a few of these flags back to defend against the Strat Bomber. And not clear what's going to be the target for the Strat Bomber. Appears that he's going after power. This T2 power generator will be the best target for UberGeek. It's not clear if you can see that. This is a stealth bomber, so it should be relatively difficult to spot. However, it is flying over Scruffy's base, and great rating from Scruffy here. Yeah, interesting things happening. We got a fight in the air, and we got fights over 2 choke points, actually through the third. You see Scruffy really trying to make the best of the fact that he has way more ground than UberGeek, and now it looks like UberGeek has dropped some NGs off in Scruffy's base, making factories, but they're going to be found out by a few tanks. And you can see the Strat Bomber. This is exactly what he should have targeted. It's a big loss for Scruffy. If he can kill off the other T2 bomber, T2 power generator. So now Scruffy is in quite a bit of trouble in terms of power. You see he's about negative 700. He needs to get a T2 power generator as fast as he can, losing quite a bit of NGs there. Now we can see this raiding from Scruffy is going on even as his base is getting destroyed. You do see that there's T3 air from Scruffy, and actually a T2 power generator has been rebuilt. But as it's rebuilt, it's taken out very quickly by UberGeek. So a very exciting game in this one. And now we can see at UberGeek's base, he is losing T2 mask extractors to a few Arty. And actually now UberGeek does have a nice Mantis force. He should be able to defend at least temporarily, but these mongoose are just rushing through. Looks like an upgrade for UberGeek. And at T3 we got a whaler. It's going to solve the problem of T1 ground at these choke points. It's actually a successful drop. It's amazing. This NG was here all alone next to a few tanks, but that's the value of radar. Scruffy sitting under a shield. You can see there was a lot of death at Scruffy's base. That was a nice bomb from UberGeek. 47 kills on his Strat Bomber. and now he's pushing forward. It's a T1, T2 force with some flak. This whaler is 15 kills already, another whaler. He's going to go after these T2 mass extractors. And raiding Mantis, getting free shots at Scruffy's economy. And more whalers. It looks like it's all ASF and whalers now from Ubergeek. And he is able to push this T2 force. And I actually see the ASF from Scruffy has just taken out that strap bomber. Coming up on minute 25, we can see the map very even. If we look at Reclamation 22 for Ubergeek, and Scruffy is at 33. Those are thousands. So about 10,000 more for Scruffy. Now we see this whaler trying to take on ASF is most likely going to lose. And it appears though that Scruffy is able to take air back, and that's probably because he has a massive amount of flak. And this seems to be trouble for Scruffy to kill off these factories. The tanks are now don't have too much firepower. And these Mantis are taking out these T2 mass extractors. And now I'm seeing T2 from Ubergeek on the ground. Finally, we see some hoplites together with Mantis. And I try to push back this Mongoose striker force. It's a nice victory here. It's going to be a lot of master reclaiming. You can see these NGs from Ubergeek taking advantage. You see NGs from Scruffy. They're going to try to sneak on the other side. See another strat bomber coming in from Ubergeek. It's a very dangerous situation for that strat bomber, given that Scruffy does have ASF. See, there's also ASF for Ubergeek, but it looks like this strat bomber is just going to get shot out of the air without any contest. This factory is still alive. That's quite amazing. We see a response from Ubergeek. Ubergeek is a very good air player. So in terms of micro, he's probably better than Scruffy, but you never know. So a bit of a mess here in Scruffy's top base. And that looks like he'll finally be able to kill off the factory and Mantis, but a nice group of Mantis in the corner just hiding. Maybe Ubergeek, yeah, he's going to try to sneak around. And actually on the ground now, Ubergeek making pretty nice push. You can see those hoplites, very effective. And NG's following up this force. You see this factory, perhaps now we see a T2 NG coming out. Ubergeek, it looks like he does not have T2 on his ACU. And more raiding from Scruffy. He's going to kill off a bunch of unprotected T1 mass extractors. This is nice positioning of the hoplites. They're just going to shoot off that mountain. Now they're going to get hit from the back. And in a SF fight, it looks like, and it is going to be supported by a bunch of T1 air, and will be fought over T2 flak, so maybe a slight advantage for Scruffy, but numbers for Ubergeek. Will be a very even fight. We see a drop coming in through this fight from Ubergeek. It should be shot down. Surprisingly, it's not. That's a very brave transport. Oh, he gets shot down at the end. It looks like Scruffy was able to defend his mountain. And he's pushing Ubergeek back, although it is a very even fight still. There's a lot of flak in Scruffy's army, so they're not as potent as they might seem. I see a hoplite moving through, and you can see a hoplite when it's really close to tanks. Should be taken out quite easily. You can see a lot of build capacity around this air factory. We see a T3 power generator being built by Ubergeek, and his air force does seem to be much larger. It's 2 T2 flaks here. Actually a 17 kill T2 flak. Very nice unit. Is going to take on a whaler and will most likely die. will definitely die. Although this is the worst place you want to put your ASF, directly above some T2 flak. And the fighting is still raging on this hill. And it appears that Ubergeek has taken this one, and NG's together with the frontline units for Ubergeek. And basically NG's and flak, very quiet through the top choke point. Really nothing more than just a few raids from Scruffy. See, Mant is very, very effective. Have not seen T3 in this game on the ground. This is minute 33. I see Strat Bombers. There's actually a T2 power being taken out. This is excellent bombing from Ubergeek. He's just taken the two T2 power generators from Scruffy. That should put Scruffy back. If we look at his power, actually he's got plenty of power. Not clear where he's getting that from, but it looks like he has lost that ASF battle. So air belongs to Ubergeek. I don't believe he's got enough T1 power to make plus 2000 power. So let's see where are those T2 power generators. We can see these T2 NGs standing by whenever he needs to get the power back. It's not in the ACU. It's very strange. And you can see pretty nice T2 T1 force moving through for Scruffy. He's actually going to go on the ground through both top and bottom. Some Mantis have gotten through to these NGs, but should be killed off quite fast. And now Scruffy's going to get a lot of mass for himself from this reclamation. So 1, 2 T2 power generators. Just out of curiosity, he does have 101 T1 power generators. So that is exactly 2000 power. That's exactly where his power is. So now we see T3 from Ubergeek. This is a brick. That should take care of this choke point. We see multiple bricks coming through for Ubergeek now, and on the other side it looks like a whaler is trying to stop this raiding group. No flak this time from this raiding group, and the flak with a shield will be very good against the gunship. And now these bricks, you can see 20 kills with this brick. You're going to keep on rolling through. If you look at reclamation, Scruffy sitting at 53,000. Ubergeek at 40,000, so 13,000 difference. And drops coming in from Ubergeek. And out through the middle, we see a nice T1, T2 force. It is supported by some flak, but these bricks should be able to stop. And losing these T1 factories is no longer really an issue for Ubergeek, given that he does have T3 with a lot of NGs around. So this is nice ground production. See a second, actually third T3 power generator from Ubergeek. Scruffy is still sitting on a bunch of T2 power, and air does belong to Ubergeek. And now with these drops, it looks like Ubergeek is going to have map control. And these bricks, there is really not many answers that Scruffy can come up with at this point. He needs either T3 ground. Actually, he does have T3 ground Percy's. So we just might see Percy versus brick fight in this one. But there are 3 bricks in this group. We need at least 2-3 Percys to take that on. Now we see whalers coming in. Gonna put a lot of pressure on Scruffy. There's still Strat Bombers going after these T2 power generators. And now some more bricks coming in through this middle choke point. And another 4 bricks, 5 bricks. So we see 10 bricks on the field for Ubergeek. And a really nice air spam. 3 T3 power generators. Scruffy probably, well, he's got T3 PD. Really bad things happening. You can see this is pretty effective anti-air. This is just T1, but a whole bunch. Now these bricks shooting directly into Scruffy's base, taking out T3 mask extractor. So the economy for Scruffy is in bad shape. See a lot of dead units. Now you can see this is going to be Brick versus Percy. Now Scruffy is going to move in, going to probably try to overcharge. Now these weathers getting really close. So you can see it's a display of T3 from Cybran. Bad situation for this ACU. If these are sitting really close, so if Scruffy could overcharge one, probably hit them all. And now we can see the weathers going directly after Scruffy's ACU. Probably going to get a little too close to this anti-air, however. Now Brick's moving in directly into Scruffy's base. We see T3 PD. Scruffy going quite low on his health, and minute 41, Scruffy has been defeated. So a very tough fight where Overgeek really denied the expansion for Scruffy early on. Got the better eco, and then really wanted with air the whole time. So very well played.